So do you need to practice a bazillion hours, 7 days a week, all the time without ever stopping to become a great jazz musician? I'm going to answer all of that for you coming up right now. So you've probably heard stories of John Coltrane or Charlie Parker practicing for these enormous long hours, 10, 12 hours a day for years on end. And maybe you feel like completely overwhelmed by that. And I wouldn't blame you, because I feel completely overwhelmed just thinking about that. That sounds absolutely horrible to me. I don't even think I would want to practice that long. But at the same time, we want to become better jazz musicians. So should we do what John Coltrane and Charlie Parker did? And you've probably heard of the 10,000 hour rule before. Malcolm Gladwell kind of brought it into the spotlight with his book Outliers, where he talks about a lot about the Beatles and how they practiced a ton. He talks about Bill Gates and how many hours he spent coding and doing all this crazy stuff and how good they got. And absolutely, I feel like it's true. If you get those 10,000 hours in, if you practice a lot, if you get all that experience, obviously you're going to start mastering the material you're working on, right? That's agreeable. I think we can all agree with that. But when it comes down to it, we all have really busy, crazy lives. I know I do. I've got a wife. I've got, family to deal with. I've got, lots of things to do with my business. I have to play some gigs. I just can't be practicing all the time, even as a professional musician. So, I know you're in the same boat too. So what do we do? So how long and how often should we practice? Let's just answer that simple question right now. Let's start with how long. How long should we be practicing for? Really simple answer: as long as you are focused for. That's it. As long as you are focused. Because, you could practice for 5 hours, but if after the first hour, you're just kind of all over the place, you're not really following your practice plan anymore, you're not really building anything, you're just kind of noodling and all over the place, are you really benefiting from those hours of practice? Maybe your technique's getting better because you're working a lot, but at the end of the day, we want to be having focused, goal-oriented practice sessions where every single time we're in there, every single second is spent well. And if we can do that, we could even get our practice sessions down to 30 minutes and really pack a punch with them. So I don't think we need to be practicing for 5 or 6 hours necessarily. You can, if you're focused and you're really in the zone for those 5 or 6 hours, good for you, great, go for it. But listen, I once practiced for 10 hours straight when I was in college. And I'll tell you what, maybe the first 4 hours I was pretty focused, but after a while I was just doing it to do it. And that's not why you want to ever practice. So at the end of the day, just follow that very simple rule for how long you should practice: for as long as you are focused for. And a lot of that comes together with creating a good action plan, a good practice plan that will set you up for success. And if you can do that, it will help you stay focused and on track. All right, let's answer how often. How often should you practice? Now, I'm going to give you an answer that you probably won't like. Be consistent. All right, it's far more important to be consistent than practice all the time or practice for a long period of time, right? But, I know that's not quite satisfactory. So I would say at a minimum of 2 times a week. 3 times is probably a good spot for most of us who have day jobs and are working a lot to really maintain those skills and maybe learn some more too and increase those skills as well. So I would say 2 times minimum, 3 times good, 4 times even better. But most important is just to be consistent, because if week after week you're consistent with how much you practice, you will over time improve, especially if you're having focused, goal-oriented practice sessions and you're really focused for the time that you do practice for. So there's no need to get overwhelmed. You don't need to practice for crazy long hours. Just practice for as long as you're focused and just practice consistently, and you're probably going to be improving no matter what. So I want to hear from you. How often do you practice and how long do you practice? And what tips do you have for all this stuff? Let me know your thoughts and opinions below. And hey, I've got a really great free training for you. If you really want to get into that focused, goal-oriented practice sessions, I have a free mini course called Accelerate Your Jazz Skills, 3 Steps Towards Jazz Improv Freedom. And it's completely free. So I'll leave that up in the card and I'll leave it in the description below. You can go ahead and sign up for that course and I'll send it to you right away. You can start learning alongside of me in there. All right, hey, I'll see you in the next video. I'm signing off. Till next time.